All right, Taurus, let's get into your reading. So, the message that I have for you today is this, and you absolutely need to hear it. There are things happening around you right now that people have deliberately kept from your awareness. This is not paranoia or anxiety. The cards are confirming what your gut has been whispering all along. You sensed that something was off lately, and today the truth behind that instinct gets validated entirely. The energy surrounding your situation is layered with secrecy, and the universe is done letting you walk blindly. What has been concealed carries weight, and the cards refuse to let you remain in the dark anymore. Come in close today, because what the cards reveal will reshape how you see everything around you. The first card we have for you is the Seven of Swords, and this exposes hidden activity directly. The Seven of Swords does not surface unless deception exists, confirming movement in silence around your life. Information has been deliberately withheld from you, and that concealment was calculated and intentional, not accidental whatsoever. Certain words were exchanged behind closed doors, conversations you were never meant to overhear or discover. The Seven of Swords tells me this person believed they could operate undetected, without triggering your awareness. They underestimated your intuition severely, because your spirit flagged the inconsistencies before any proof surfaced. Your body registered the dishonesty before your mind had language for it, and that instinct was never wrong. You noticed behavioral shifts, the changes in tone, the strange timing of disappearances and sudden, hollow excuses. This card carries a warning, but also liberation, because awareness is the first step toward reclaiming power. The deception surrounding you was never about your inadequacy. It was about their inability to face you honestly. Their secrecy reflects cowardice within them, and the Seven of Swords wants you to understand that completely. You were never the problem in this equation. The dishonesty was a mirror of their weakness, not yours. Every excuse they offered was designed to redirect your attention, and for a while, it worked. The next card coming through is the Page of Swords, and this confirms hidden information is surfacing. The Page of Swords represents truth cutting through fog, messages arriving that expose what was carefully buried. New details are about to reach you through a discovery or an unexpected revelation from outside sources. The universe is orchestrating the exposure because you deserve to make critical decisions based on actual facts. The Page of Swords carries razor-sharp clarity, slicing through every fabricated narrative constructed to mislead you. What was whispered in your absence is about to echo loudly enough for you to finally hear it. You may receive this truth from an unlikely source, a person you did not expect as your ally. The revelation will arrive swiftly and without warning, and once it lands, it will reorganize your entire understanding. Your own investigative instincts have been sharpening quietly, picking up clues your conscious mind had not yet assembled. Small details you overlooked are about to connect into a pattern, and that pattern confirms everything you suspected. You already gathered fragments of the puzzle without realizing, and soon the full picture snaps together for you. Trust every suspicious feeling you dismissed as overthinking, because your inner radar was functioning perfectly this entire time. Your ability to sense deception is a gift, and this reading exists to remind you never silence it. Then we have the Three of Wands, and this shifts the energy from exposure toward your expanding perspective. The Three of Wands shows you stepping into a broader viewpoint, finally seeing the full terrain clearly. What was once obscured by proximity becomes visible from this elevated vantage, and the clarity is staggering. Discovering the truth does not destroy you. This card confirms it actually positions you for something far greater. The Three of Wands says your horizon is widening because the blinders are being removed from your eyes. You are about to see people and motives with a precision that was previously unavailable to you entirely. That is exactly why this message found you today. Walking forward uninformed was never your intended path. The cards chose this moment to intervene because your next chapter requires you to operate with complete awareness. Hidden things are surfacing for your benefit, and by the end of this reading, you will understand why. This revelation is not punishment, but protection, and the universe delivered it because you are ready to receive. Okay, now let us focus entirely on you, because your inner world has been anything but peaceful. You have been sitting with a gut feeling for weeks, and ignoring it has cost you dearly. The weight of suspicion alone has been draining you, even without confirmation of what you already sensed. You walk around carrying invisible tension, smiling through conversations while your mind races behind the surface. Your thoughts have become relentless, looping through scenarios and possibilities that rob you of restful sleep. You have mastered the art of functioning while falling apart, and that performance deserves to end right here. The first card reflecting your energy is the Nine of Wands, and this mirrors your exhaustion perfectly. The Nine of Wands shows a person who has endured repeated disappointments, yet still refuses to collapse. You have been standing guard over your own peace, protecting yourself from another blow you feel approaching. Your resilience is remarkable, but the Nine of Wands reveals that your reserves are running dangerously low. You keep functioning on the outside while crumbling quietly within, and that contradiction wears you completely thin. The emotional labor of pretending everything is fine has become heavier than the actual truth you avoid. Hypervigilance replaced your natural ease, and you catch yourself analyzing every word and gesture for hidden meanings. You used to trust freely, and losing that openness bothers you more than any specific betrayal could. What hurts most is not what happened, it is who you have had to become because of it. The Nine of Wands confirms you are exhausted from being the one who always stays alert and prepared. Your spirit craves the luxury of naivety again, the ability to simply believe without cross-referencing everything. The next card here is the Four of Cups, and this captures your emotional withdrawal with precision. The Four of Cups shows deep disillusionment settling over you, a quiet refusal to engage with false comfort. You pulled inward deliberately because the outside world stopped feeling safe enough to receive your vulnerability. Opportunities for connection keep presenting themselves, but you dismiss them because trust has been deeply fractured. The Four of Cups tells me you have been emotionally unavailable on purpose, building distance as survival. You rationalize the isolation as self-care, but underneath that narrative lives a loneliness you refuse to name. You tell yourself that solitude is chosen, but the ache behind it tells a completely different, harder truth. A numbness you cultivated intentionally took root because feeling everything at full volume became too overwhelming. You scroll through memories trying to pinpoint the exact moment things shifted, searching for origins of betrayal. Late at night, your mind constructs timelines, cross-referencing dates and details with obsessive precision inside. The Four of Cups reveals that this shutdown is not apathy. It is a wound disguised as indifference. You care more than you have allowed yourself to express, and suppressing that care slowly suffocates your spirit. The silence you built around your feelings was meant to protect, but now it has become a prison. Then we have the King of Cups, and this shows the version of yourself you fight to protect. The King of Cups represents emotional mastery, and you have worn that composure like armor through every storm. You pride yourself on handling chaos with grace, but privately you question how much more grace you possess. Your emotional intelligence allows you to read rooms and sense dishonesty, which is both blessing and curse. You absorb the energy of every environment you enter, and lately those environments felt contaminated with lies. The King of Cups tells me you have been making decisions from pain, disguised carefully as rational logic. Your conclusions feel sensible on the surface, but they are colored by wounds you have not fully processed. You deserve choices rooted in clarity rather than accumulated hurt, and the cards need you to hear that. The composure you maintain is admirable, but it has also prevented you from releasing what desperately needs expression. Holding everything together is not strength when it comes at the cost of your own emotional honesty. Your intuition brought you to this reading for a reason, and honoring that instinct is the bravest response. Beneath the exhaustion and guardedness, there is still a version of you that believes truth leads to freedom. The cards see that version clearly, and everything unfolding here exists to bring that part of you forward.
Now, let us step into their world, because what is happening on their side tells a different story. This person has not been honest, and the cards are exposing the motive behind every hidden move. Their behavior was never random or careless. A calculated strategy existed beneath the surface all along. Their motivation was rooted in self-preservation, and every lie served as another brick in their wall. They understood what they were doing, and the discomfort they carry comes from knowing you deserve better. Their inner world is messier than they allowed you to witness, and that mess fuels the deception. The first card for their side is the Five of Swords, and this confirms deliberate self-interest. The Five of Swords represents victory at a cost. This person chose to protect themselves at your expense. They weighed their options and selected the path that served them, knowing it would wound you deeply. What drives them is not malice in its purest form. It is a desperate need to maintain image. They constructed a version of events that positioned them favorably, editing out the parts that expose flaws. The Five of Swords tells me this person knows they played unfairly, and that awareness gnaws at them. A quiet shame has taken root inside them, even though they would never use that word aloud. Their justifications run on a constant loop, building internal arguments that their actions were somehow necessary. The guilt has not surfaced publicly, but it operates beneath their confidence like a crack through concrete. They avoid certain topics and certain places because those triggers remind them of exactly what they did. Their composure around you is manufactured, and maintaining it requires more effort than you would ever suspect. Every interaction with you now carries a tension they work overtime to conceal, and that labor is visible. The cracks in their performance are widening, and it is only a matter of time before it crumbles. The next card is the Ace of Cups, and this brings a surprising emotional layer to their motives. The Ace of Cups reveals that underneath the betrayal, this person carries genuine feelings they cannot reconcile. Their actions and their emotions exist in direct opposition, and that contradiction is tearing them apart silently. They feel something real for you, which is precisely why the deception torments them more than it should. If they felt nothing, the secrecy would cost nothing, but the Ace of Cups says they feel everything. This person is caught between wanting your trust and knowing their behavior made that trust completely impossible. They look at you and see the damage they caused, even though you have not yet discovered it. Moments arise where they almost confess. The truth rises to their throat and they swallow it back down. The Ace of Cups confirms their emotional attachment is authentic, despite the dishonesty that surrounds all of it. They wrestle with the paradox of genuinely caring while actively hiding things that would shatter your trust. They hate the version of themselves that chose secrecy over courage, but reversing course now terrifies them. They have painted themselves into a corner, and every passing day makes the eventual reckoning more unavoidable. Their fear is that full honesty means losing you permanently, and that outcome feels worse than continued hiding. Then we have the Hermit, and this reveals the isolation this person has been experiencing on their own. The Hermit shows this person withdrawing into themselves, carrying the burden alone without any confidant at all. They shared what they did with nobody because speaking it out loud would make it irreversibly real. This isolation is self-imposed punishment, and they sit with the weight of their choices every single night. The Hermit tells me they have been doing deep reflection, questioning who they have become through all this. A part of them genuinely wants to change direction, but pride and fear keep blocking the doorway forward. They spend hours constructing scenarios in their mind, imagining how confession would unfold and what you would say. Every version they imagine ends with your disappointment, and facing that reaction scares them beyond anything else. The Hermit confirms this person is not at peace. Their silence is a prison they built around themselves. Whatever you suspect about their emotional state, multiply it, because what they conceal is far heavier than shown. Their next move depends on whether fear or integrity wins. The battle inside them reaches its peak now. The cards laid their world bare, and the truth is they are drowning quietly in their own choices.
So now let us look at what happens next, because the cards show concrete movement approaching. The period of stagnation is ending, and decisions that stalled are about to accelerate without warning. Action replaces hesitation on both sides, and the next few weeks shift this entire dynamic visibly. This person approaches a moment where silence becomes unsustainable, and they sense it instinctively inside. The pressure to act has been mounting, and the tipping point arrives sooner than either of you expects. Their window for voluntary honesty is narrowing rapidly, and the universe will not wait for their readiness. The first card for the action phase is Justice, and this guarantees that truth will be served. Justice does not arrive unless a reckoning is imminent, and accountability cannot be avoided any longer now. The scales are tipping, and what was hidden in darkness is about to be dragged into full light. The universe itself is enforcing disclosure, regardless of whether this person volunteers the truth willingly. If they do not come forward, circumstances will engineer the exposure through channels they never anticipated. External forces are aligning to bring disclosure forward, and this person has zero control over that orchestration. Justice confirms a revelation is locked into your timeline, and no maneuvering can prevent its arrival. You may discover truth through direct conversation, or it may surface through evidence that appears unexpectedly. Either way, the information reaches you, and justice promises it arrives with enough clarity to remove ambiguity. Fair outcomes follow the exposure, meaning consequences will match the severity of every action that was taken. Nobody escapes accountability under this card, and this person will learn that lesson in a deeply personal way. The universe has tracked every move they made, and the ledger is about to be balanced completely now. The next card is the Knight of Pentacles, and this reveals the pace of approaching events specifically. The Knight of Pentacles moves slowly, but with absolute certainty, meaning truth unfolds methodically, not chaotically. Details will surface one layer at a time, each piece confirming and expanding what the previous one revealed. This is not a sudden explosion of information. It is a steady unraveling that builds into undeniable proof. The Knight of Pentacles tells me evidence has already started collecting, even without your direct effort involved. Conversations overheard, messages stumbled across, behavioral patterns that finally click. These are all approaching now. Truth will be delivered in a way you can actually process, and the universe is pacing it deliberately. Each piece of information arrives precisely when you are ready to receive it, and that timing is intentional. Your role in this phase is not chasing answers aggressively, but remaining observant and trusting the process. The Knight of Pentacles assures you that patience right now is actually the most powerful strategy you hold. Doing nothing reckless allows the exposure to unfold organically, which produces far stronger results than forcing confrontation. The information you need is already moving toward you, and meeting it with composure serves you best. Then we have the Ten of Wands, and this shows what this person carries as truth approaches them. The Ten of Wands reveals that maintaining deception has become unbearable. They can no longer sustain it. The weight of accumulated lies presses down on them, and their capacity to keep performing is collapsing fast. They are reaching a breaking point where confession feels lighter than continuation, and that shift changes everything. Their facade is cracking under its own pressure without you needing to apply any force whatsoever from outside. Exhaustion from hiding will become the catalyst that brings everything into the open for both of you equally. Carrying secrets has physically drained them, and their body language will betray them before words ever do. These three cards point to one conclusion. Truth is arriving, and it is arriving on a firm timeline. Justice ensures fairness. The Knight ensures steady delivery, and the Ten of Wands ensures their walls collapse inward. Stay grounded through this phase. Trust your instincts fully, and prepare yourself to receive clarity, not chaos. The next chapter begins with revelation, and that revelation positions you to make decisions from genuine empowerment. Movement is no longer theoretical. The cards confirm it as certain, and your awareness becomes your greatest weapon. Now, let us pull back the final layer, because what this person hides goes deeper than you imagined. These are confessions they have buried so far beneath the surface that even they avoid looking at them. The cards are stripping away every mask right now, and what remains underneath is raw and unguarded. This person carries truths about you and about themselves that would reshape this entire situation if spoken. Their silence is not merely habit at this point. It is a fortress built to contain something explosive. The first card exposing their confessions is the Eight of Swords, and this reveals their internal imprisonment. The Eight of Swords shows a person trapped entirely by their own fabrications, bound by lies they constructed. They created a web so intricate around themselves that escaping it now feels genuinely impossible to them. Their hidden confession is that they feel stuck, paralyzed between the life they built and truth they owe. They know the deception has gone too far, and that awareness sits in their stomach like permanent nausea. They catch themselves mid-sentence sometimes, almost slipping truth before their survival instinct snatches it back. The Eight of Swords tells me they privately wish you would discover everything, so the burden finally lifts. They fantasize about being caught because voluntary confession requires a bravery they simply do not possess right now. Their secret desire is for truth to surface without them having to be the one who delivers it. They want liberation from the prison of their own making, but they want it handed, not earned. That contradiction defines their internal struggle, wanting freedom while refusing to pay the cost of honesty. They lay awake replaying the exact moment they chose deception, and that memory has become their deepest wound. If they could rewind to that single decision, they would choose differently, and that regret consumes them. The next card is the Moon, and this exposes the fears and illusions driving their hidden emotional world. The Moon reveals that this person is terrified of who they actually are beneath the persona they perform. Their confession buried deepest is that they do not believe they deserve you, and that belief poisons everything. They see you as a person inherently better, more honest, more whole, and that comparison creates unbearable shame. The deception was partly driven by inadequacy, a desperate attempt to appear worthy of your attention. The Moon tells me they fabricated versions of themselves specifically to match what they thought you wanted. Every exaggeration and omission was designed to keep you close because the authentic version felt too insufficient. Their private torment is that the closer you got, the more terrified they became of you seeing through. Intimacy became threatening because proximity meant exposure, and exposure meant losing the illusion they carefully maintained. The Moon confirms they are haunted by the gap between who they presented and who they actually are. They wish desperately that they had been brave enough to show you the unedited truth from the beginning. Their unspoken confession is that the lying was never about disrespecting you, it was about hating themselves. Self-loathing sits at the root of every hidden act, and that changes the texture of their betrayal. Then we have the Four of Pentacles, and this reveals what they cling to most desperately in secret. The Four of Pentacles shows a person gripping control with white knuckles, terrified of losing their position. Their deepest confession is that they are afraid of becoming irrelevant to you, forgotten and discarded entirely. They hold on to information as leverage, believing that knowledge gives them power within the dynamic between you. The Four of Pentacles tells me they withheld truth strategically, keeping certain details as insurance against abandonment. Their secrecy was a control mechanism designed to ensure they always maintained some advantage over the situation. They confess silently that they need you more than they have ever needed anybody, and that horrifies them. The idea of you walking away permanently produces a panic in them that borders on something almost physical. Their grip on this situation is born from desperation, not strength, and the cards confirm that clearly. Every hidden truth they carry connects to one primal fear: being seen fully and then being rejected entirely. That fear authored every lie, motivated every omission, and constructed every excuse that ever crossed your path. The cards exposed what lives beneath their silence, and it is not indifference. It is absolute, raw terror. Okay, let us bring everything together now, because your near future holds a pivotal shift ahead. What has been hidden will not stay buried much longer, and exposure is already in motion now. Within the coming weeks, a moment of undeniable clarity arrives and changes everything you thought you knew. The first card for your future is Strength, and this confirms you handle the truth with grace. Strength does not appear for the fragile. It appears for those who possess resilience to face anything. You will not crumble when revelation lands. You will rise with a composure that surprises even yourself. This card promises your emotional foundation is sturdier than your doubts have led you to believe lately. Truth heading toward you will sting initially, but strength confirms it becomes your catalyst, not your destruction. What once felt like an ending will reveal itself as the beginning of your truest and strongest chapter. You will process what you learn with wisdom, and decisions that follow come from clarity, not panic. Then we have the Tower, and this confirms a sudden disruption clears the path ahead of you. The Tower represents structures collapsing that were built on false foundations, and that collapse is necessary. What falls apart needed to fall apart, and the Tower guarantees what replaces it will be genuinely solid. Expect the unexpected soon, because a conversation or discovery arrives that reshapes your understanding completely. The Tower paired with Strength tells me you survived this disruption beautifully, emerging sharper and more assured. Your next chapter begins on a foundation of truth, not the shaky ground of deception you stood on. Now, here is my advice, and I need you to carry every word of this forward with you. Stop second guessing your instincts, because every suspicion you carried was rooted in genuine perception, not paranoia. You were never overreacting. You were detecting what others worked overtime to keep concealed from you. When truth surfaces, resist the urge to blame yourself for missing it sooner, because you saw it always. Your only task now is to remain grounded. Let information arrive and respond from power, not desperation. Do not chase confrontation. Let the exposure unfold at the pace the universe has already set for you. Protect your energy fiercely in this season because those who deceived you do not deserve your collapse. Your peace is not negotiable, and no revelation, however painful, should be allowed to steal that permanently. You are worthy of honesty in every relationship, and settling for less was never part of your design. Now, let me bring back the message that opened this reading because it ties everything together perfectly. The message was, if you only knew what is going on behind your back, you gotta know this. The cards answered that message with precision, confirming hidden activity has surrounded your situation all along. The Seven of Swords exposed deception, and the Page of Swords confirmed that truth is actively surfacing now. The Three of Wands showed your perspective expanding, while the Nine of Wands mirrored your deep emotional exhaustion. The Four of Cups captured your withdrawal, and the King of Cups reflected composure you wear as armor. The Five of Swords revealed calculated self-interest, and the Ace of Cups exposed genuine feelings beneath it. The Hermit showed their isolation and torment, while Justice guaranteed that accountability arrives without any exception. The Knight of Pentacles confirmed methodical truth delivery, and the Ten of Wands showed their facade finally collapsing. The Eight of Swords revealed self-imprisonment, and the Moon exposed their deepest fears and fabricated personas. The Four of Pentacles uncovered desperate grip on control, born from the terror of losing you for good. Strength confirmed you handle every revelation with grace, and the Tower promised necessary collapse followed by rebuilding. Every card across this reading pointed toward one truth. What was hidden is coming fully into the light. You were brought to this reading at the right moment because your awareness was always meant to expand. You are not a victim of deception. You are a person whose intuition refused to be silenced. Carry that knowledge forward with confidence because everything ahead of you is built on truth, not illusion. Thank you so much for being here today, for trusting the cards, and for honoring your inner knowing. I am sending you strength and clarity and deep protection, and I truly hope this reading blessed you.